So as we come down off the hill at knock-off, at shift change, we'd get service. My quack some days would go off because it was messages I'd received through the day. And it would quack, 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 quack. Anyway, he downloaded the quack, followed by a shotgun. Can you imagine how horrified I was? And then it became tradition. Well, hello and welcome to a bonus episode. It has been ages since I've done a bonus episode, and I was outside on this lovely November afternoon here in tropical Queensland, tropical North Queensland, right in the middle really, and I was listening to a podcast, as I do, from two podcasters, the She Podcasts with Jess and Elsie, and I love them both. They'll get it because of that episode, but they probably won't listen to this. But listening to this episode totally inspired me to sit down here with my little dog, watch the sunset, have a beer, and yes, I am out by the highway, so there may be some background noise. I wrote a couple of notes of some things that I want to say because it just feels right. And we'll see if I release it or if I don't. Is it about mining? Not really. But it kind of is. Oh, shut up. Just get on with it, Mad Mumsy. Welcome to the Beers with a Miner podcast. My name is Mad Mumsy, and I've been driving the huge dump trucks in Australian open cut mines for over 10 years now. I wish I had $1 for everyone who said to me, "How does a little thing like you drive those big trucks? You must be rich. How do I get a job doing that?" My mining friends are asked these questions all the time too. This is what started the Mad Mumsy journey to share stories and tips from living a mining lifestyle and to let others know what it's really like. At the moment, as we are nearing the end of 2018, I've just heard about a podcast movement called Women's Podcasters in Solidarity. That's what I am. I'm a woman podcaster, and I follow many of them. I'm not sure how long this has been going, but this theme really made me go and get my phone, get my microphone, plug it in, hit on my Voice Record Pro and sit down out here and talk on the microphone to you. The theme at the moment is gun violence and how it affects our communities. As we all know at the moment and for a while now, and this is not a political rant by any means, although I could do that very easily, gun violence, especially in America, is just nuts, and we're seeing it on the news all the time. But what I wanted to talk about is how are guns in your world? How do you see guns? Because in my world, I'm kind of the odd one out. There are a few people, who are neither here nor there about, as far as having guns, I'm talking about really, they're not around them, so it doesn't matter. And I wondered, I've been thinking a little bit lately, and it's kind of triggered me this to... Oh, there goes the dog. It might be time. The dog next door barking. Time for a beer. I'll leave some pictures of where I'm sitting in the show notes. It's beautiful at the moment. It's springtime here in Queensland and, well, in the southern hemisphere, I guess. It's spring, and my tree I'm sitting under is just blooming beautiful orange flowers, and the sun is setting over the mountains with the creek in the foreground. Beautiful. So anyway, back to the guns. Come on, talk about it. So those that know me know that I am not a fan of guns, and my daughters are the opposite. They love them. I don't know why. They like the little key rings with a gun on it and T-shirts and and stuff, and maybe they've gone the opposite of me because of what I'm going to share with you now. Or I'm not sure, and it doesn't matter because each to their own, you know. I'm not anti well, I am anti guns, but I'm kind of anti-religion at times as well, you know, all in the name of religion. And yeah, look where that gets some people. So I'm spiritual, spiritual, not religious, and anti-gun. But you know, I know people have guns, and there's a lot of people that don't do anything wrong with them. But how they affect me, I freak out at truck going past. Have another beer. There it is. Come here, little dog. Come on, want to get up? Come on, little dog. Up again. Quick. Come on, the listeners haven't got all day. Say hello. She's looking at the microphone like, what the fuck is going on here? So those that know me know I don't like guns. I don't like anything about them. My daughter wanted to get her gun license and she went through all the processes, and someone very close to me has a gun and says it's all right, it's all pulled apart, there's no bullets in it, I don't even know what it's all called, the barrel, the chambers, the bits that shoot aren't even together. But I can't stand even the feel of it. Sometimes I have to be near it and I don't want to be. And I've been thinking about, why am I like this? Why am I so anti-guns? Other than the misuse of, you know, like the semi-automatics over in America this week. 3 big shootings? It's just terrible. So relating it back to mining for a moment, when I was on the bus, I'll go back to my phone first. So we all have our message alerts, and do you know the one that sounds like a duck? Quack, 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 quack. That's my message, and you might hear it if I get text message from the real miner because he's on night shift, so he'll be waking up shortly and send me a morning message. So for a while there, back in the day, at this one time at band camp, I was sitting next to a guy regularly on the bus. We became mates. You know, we were both going through issues with our kids and things. And as I've discussed many times on the podcast, and you will know, that our crew can become our family. And so we followed each other's, you know, what happened this week, days of our lives, as a real miner calls it. I'm like, yeah, well, it's my life. And shit goes down, but we still have to be able to deal with it. But anyway, back to the guns. This guy was ex-army and didn't mind sharing with people, which is great, you know, talk about it. They say some of the biggest things for our armed forces is that they keep it all in. You know, yesterday, a couple of days ago, we just had our Remembrance Day, 11/11. Perhaps that is also what has triggered me. Yes, that would have a lot to do with why I need to speak about this, because there's been so much on our wonderful ABC about old stories and, you know, people in France and in the trenches and so much. So yes, that helps. Sorry, that's more for me than for you, but that is probably triggered why I need to say something about this. So anyway, back to old mate. So we're sitting on the bus and we aren't allowed to have our phones. Well, there's bugger all service, to be honest, so, you know, but yeah, you can have them at the cribber, but there wasn't much service up there. So as we come down off the hill at knock-off, at shift change, and we'd get service, my quack some days would go off because it was messages I'd received through the day. And it was quack, 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 quack. Anyway, he downloaded, and I shall share this. I'll find it and I'll put it in here now. Insert note to editor. Insert the quack followed by shotgun. Can you imagine how horrified I was? And then it became tradition, and I would became just bloody funny and just our thing. And so I would hold my phone up to his ear, turned flat out, ready for all the messages that were coming. And then I would be waiting for the quack quack, chung. Oh, and the reason that he did it was because he knows how much I fucking hate guns. You know, these boys on crew, you got to deal with that. So sometimes if there's something you're really passionate about, and really, you know, I could have gone over the top and go, don't put guns in my ear and everything, but it wasn't, you know, it's not a real gun, and it was a little bit of fun and banter, but everyone knew that I'm not into guns. And so with this women's podcasters in solidarity theme at the moment about gun violence in our community, I wanted to share this little bonus episode. You know, you guys, you can just, well, not guys, I don't like my girls, they love it. There's plenty of girls that love their guns too. So I've been thinking about, where does this hatred of guns come from? And it probably, you know, doesn't take a rocket scientist. Oh, there comes a train. Time for a drink. Listen to my train. It's a freight train. They go for a while. I get a few skulls in here. Talk amongst yourselves. Have another drink. It's still going. It's nearly finished. Are you still there? There it goes. I've chosen to reframe, as the hard hat mentor would say, my blister whenever I hear a train like that, so close to my home, and I've got the highway as well. It's okay, because that means I'm at home. So I've chosen to love that. But when you're a podcaster, it can be a pain in the fucking ass. Okay, so yes, when I was growing up, our mates, once we got into teenage years, they started getting air rifles and, you know, play shooting and stuff, and I never liked the noise. It's so loud. And then firecrackers when we were all having a few drinkies and stuff, and it always freaked me out. And then one of those fellas, when we were in our 30s, was actually shot, and he died. There's some birdies. That's him flying past. He's one of my angels, and don't fuck with him because he's pretty tough. I got good angels up there. His death hit our family really hard, and it definitely affected me and how I am about guns. Right? I have had a shrink tell me that, but I didn't need a shrink to tell me that. I went one way and my kids went the other and became a little bit fascinated with guns, but, you know, not murderers or anything, but just in merchandise. And if they get a chance to go, like I said, have a shoot at the rifle range and get your license and stuff like that. Sporting shooting. But that's where mine has come. And so, how do guns affect you and your family? Have guns affected you? Or perhaps someone in your family? What about your community? And what can we do about it? You know, here in Australia, we had the big gun buyback or hand-in or whatever it was called years ago, and a shooting here is not so common these days. We have the odd people, you know, they'll run people over with their cars or jump out and stab someone. We had that this week with all gas bottles in the back, and He was clearly having issues, but if he had a gun, he just could have killed so many more people. And so as I look up at the sky and the sun is setting and I'm looking at the moon through that beautiful tree with the orange flowers, and my angels are up there, I've got a team up there. They are all the people that have passed on. And that guy who got shot, he's the toughest one, so don't mess with me. I got protection. But as the birds choose to say good evening, I will say good evening to you too. My call to action from this bonus episode is to perhaps think about gun violence in your life, in your community, in the world, because I'm a great believer that we are all one, and when anything happens in America, it affects me as well. And we see it on the telly. It's everywhere. Even if you only go on Facebook, you're going to see it. Some people don't watch the news because of that. And what can we all do about it? So if, like me, you are really passionately against guns and they just creep you out and you're like, oh, guns, and do something about it. What are you doing? Are you doing anything about it? What can we do? Even start thinking about what can we do? How can we protect people? I know that they say if you've got a gun, you can shoot the mother that's coming in to get you, but what if they get the gun and then they use it on you? And oh my god, or what if a kid gets the gun and accidentally shoots you or shoots themselves or shoots someone else? And this happens, you hear it all the time, and it's just terrible, and it just freaks me out even just thinking about it. So I guess my final words, I promise, is to say, if you do have guns, fine for you, but please, please, please do all the right things, keep them safe, keep people away from guns who shouldn't be near them, because too many people, and here in Australia, okay, we're not having the mass murders, but holy fuck, we are having domestic violence. And that's this bonus episode, that's my biggest thing, is bringing it back to community, bringing it back to you and your world. Can I just ask that you please watch out, and if you see anything that doesn't look right, let people know. And especially here in Australia with so much domestic violence and deaths, especially women getting murdered daily, we've got to look after each other. We're one world, we're one community. So what can you do to help people? Look after your peeps. You're one of my peeps. I want you to keep listening to my podcast. But I also want you to stay safe, and I want your family to be safe, and I want everyone to think about how they can help a little bit. What can you do? A little step in your world to help someone. Whatever in your community you see where you could help out, go and lend a hand. It doesn't have to be financially, it could be volunteering. But bloody trucks, I'll tell ya. Between the trucks and wipe me eyes, I'm not doing bonus episodes very often. What I'm trying to say is, not only, yes, this planted a seed about gun violence in our community, but to me it's planted a seed about community in general. How can you help your community? In what way? What about on your crew? Fundraisers, donations, help. Just go and save the world, people. Okay, I'm going to go inside and feed my dog. And thank you to Elsie Escobar and Jessica Kupferman from She Podcast for planting the seed, and John, their famous editor. for planting the seed in me to sit down by the highway and the train track with my microphone, my dog on my lap, watching the sunset, having a beer, and just sharing a few thoughts about gun violence in our community. There was a little bit about mining in there, but this is a bonus episode, and I don't do these very often, so remember you can always hit me up on any of the social medias, Mad Mumsy, Mumzie. Until next time, stay safe, especially after this episode. Stay safe, be real, be special, and have fun. For we only live once. Oh, okay, after all of that fun and frivolity, I'm going to go inside and I'm going to watch whatever latest reality TV show I'm into. I think it's either The Bachelor or the cake, or not cake, family fights. But they don't have guns. Oh my God, they just fight about food. Right, let's go, little dog. They've heard enough. I may or may not even ever release this, but not me. I will. Cheers. Now for a word from our sponsor, Julia Hartman and the Bantax Accounting Group. Julia's my awesome accountant. She's written 2 books with financial expert Noel Whittaker, and she's got a passion to help us miners make the most out of our hard-earned cash. She's got heaps of tips and make sure that we get every cent we are meant to get, and is right on the ball with everything. If you head to bantax.com.au/miners, that's BANTACS, you can download a free booklet all just for us miners. And there's also a spreadsheet in there that helps you check off what tools you have for your trade, like your isolation lock, work boots, 7 shirts, all of these sorts of things, and you can weigh them up and it'll tell you if you qualify weight-wise to claim your trips out to work. And that's just one of the things that they've got over there. So I strongly urge you to head to bantax.com.au/miners and see what they can do, and find your nearest office as we come up to tax time. They're really on the ball, know what's going on with the tax department, and there's heaps of other free information like property investing. If you really plan on doing some great things with your money, you want to do that, right? If you want to sell your house, can save a lot of money if you find out what to do first rather than in hindsight. And Julia, she'll, make sure you get it right. And if you do it wrong and then go and see her, she'll up you in the nicest possible way, because she really cares about us and wants us to keep our money and not give it to the tax department. Anyway, head over to bantax.com.au/miners and tell them Mad Mumsy sent you.